A stimulus deal is imminent, so how quickly would you start seeing money for FPUC, hazard pay, and stimulus checks in the month of September? Hey, good evening, everybody. This is LALATE. Wow, congratulations. Incredible, great news tonight. I mean, I just would not expect an evening like this. As the president raised his offer to narrow and nearly get you a second stimulus deal this Friday evening. Let me get right to the news. This is a special report tonight on stimulus in September, when you should likely expect your stimulus checks, when you should likely expect your hazard pay, and when you should likely expect FPUC if a stimulus package is done when we expect it to be done. You know, as we start tonight, the details are really quite overwhelmingly great. Minutes ago, LALATE reported on a special broadcast of Evenings LALATE that the president raised his offer, a fortune. The stimulus package deal points for Republicans just, hours ago today were about half trillion dollars, 500 billion. Well, guess where we are tonight for the Republicans? From 500 billion, we've gone to 1.3 trillion. Yes, and we're now only a few billion dollars away from exactly where this deal will be gotten. Most analysts have always said that the president wants to settle this at about 1.5 trillion. He's at 1.3 now, but ultimately will go to 2 trillion. And everyone says that Nancy will go to 2 trillion. She claims she'll only go to 2.3 trillion. That's just unlikely. The first stimulus package, the CARES Act, was $2 trillion. What is incredibly great news about this is that you would finally be getting your money after just weeks and months and, of turning our hair and, pulling it out. We would finally see resolution to a situation that's just been also, insanely crazy. So when would you see the money for stimulus checks? When you see it for hazard pay? When would you see it for FPUC? Let me start first with the checks. The checks is the clearest example of when you would see them. If you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, the first question you need to ask is, do you receive the benefits by electronic means? Do you receive the benefits by paper check? Also, if you're not on benefits but you are waiting for the stimulus check, does the IRS have your bank account on file? This would enable them to deliver the funds to you by electronic means. Ultimately, the viewers who are set up for electronic delivery, whether it's benefits or just normal, interactions with the IRS, you would be the first people to get the funds. You would get them somewhere between 10 to 13 calendar days after it becomes law. The reason why it's about more than 13 days is some banks just route money. The processing time to accept direct deposits is a little bit slower, but most banks today are very, very fast, especially during the pandemic. They've ramped up their time. So it's generally at about 10 days currently to effectuate the deposit. IRS is doing them quicker this time around, so we're not doing this months and months of waiting. So you would basically look at the calendar and say, hey, 10 days, less than about a week and a half from the date in which it becomes law. To become a law, it will literally be an overnight exercise. It will literally be no more than about 48 hours to be effectuated a law. So this is very, very quickly. If you want to add that time onto it, then 2 days for it to become a law, 12 days. Really very, very fast. As I've detailed to you exceptionally on this channel, the funds would not be intercepted for child support under a Democratic plan. It would not be taken off of child support. Moreover, one body that may take the money out. They was not supposed to, but may still, is if you have a bank account that is set up for receiving the funds and it's overdrawn, they may take it out for those overdrawn fees. So just be attentive to that as well. Next, FPUC. How quickly would you get the FPUC money, and when would you start receiving, and how would it be calculated? I have been reporting for ages that the FPUC money, we sort of know that as well. I mean, we know the stimulus checks is $1,200. FPUC, we generally know the FPUC is going to be $400, $600 a week. I think it's going to come in right in the middle, about $500. When I wrote the bill, I said $550 because I really think it's going to come in $550. How soon would you get the money? How would it be calculated? How would it be worked out? Well, first of all, let's do when you would get the money. The states are much faster. They've really improved their computer systems. I got to tell you, they're not good, but they're better. And so we're seeing that with LWA. Arizona, Missouri, a few other states got those benefits paid out very quickly. And all the other states are basically getting the money paid out on LWA about 7 days after they get it. So if that's the case, you should generally presume that states would get you your FPUC 2.0, as I affectionately call it, about 7 days after it is law. So if you are a state that does it by direct deposit, 7 days. If you're a state that receives it by debit card, 7 days. If you're a state that does it by paper checks, then add maybe a day or two. So I would say about 7 days after it becomes law, you would start getting FPUC. Would 2.0 be retroactive? Yes, absolutely. Would 2.0 take in consideration what happened with LWA? Yes, absolutely. How would it work and how would it calculate? Basically, you would go back to the last day that FPUC expired. And if you got something under LWA, let's start with you didn't get anything under LWA, then you would just get full FPUC 2.0. Very simple. If you did get something under LWA, it would deduct it from FPUC. And the state threw $100 on top of it in the case of Kentucky and Montana. It's likely not to deduct that from FPUC 2.0 because that was just a state add-on. So this is really good news for you. Would there be additional benefits for FPUC and PUA and UI? Yes. I mean, I've not covered that in a while. But remember, the HEROES Act extended a PUA more additional weeks, extended UI additional weeks. So, PUA is 33 weeks or 30-something weeks in the CARES Act. With the current bill, you would immediately get more weeks. So I know a lot of viewers, I haven't seen the comments lately, but I know a lot of viewers, your UI weeks are coming up. You're running out of UI weeks. You have your UI weeks, your extended benefits weeks, and then the extension under the CARES Act, which was FPEUC. Well, you would get additional weeks. So the great news as you sit here today is FPUC 2.0 about 7 days after it becomes law. So it's ironically right around when you would get the stimulus checks. I mean, this is what I've been talking about all day long. When things move quickly, they move quickly, and then suddenly the money's there as the sun drops quicker than anything else can drop. Finally, the last thing to really consider is hazard pay. How quickly you would receive hazard pay. Hazard pay and rent will likely be the dogs that will drag very slowly. The rent grant program under the second stimulus package is going to be an entire process where you apply, you have to qualify, they have to review it, and then they have to send it out. It's just not going to be something quick. It probably will take at least upwards of a month for the rent money. This is different for the eviction moratorium, the rent money. And then for purposes of hazard pay, if your employer, remember the employer has to apply, not you. If the employer applies, I expect it to be at least a month until hazard pay lands in your bank account. That's why I think I'm going to be doing hazard pay videos into 2021. I just think it's going to go very, very slow. And I think the fastest anyone will ever see hazard pay is that first month. But as I've told you before, and I told you all this week, remember that state that did hazard pay and 25% of the hazard pay was eaten up by one business within 2 days? A lot of businesses are ready to pounce. So if you're one of those businesses, congratulations, get ready to pounce. If you're if you're part of a conglomerate or part of a union and you have 800 something employees, get ready to pounce. It's going to be that quickly. As the light drops, I don't want to look like I'm Vincent Price during an evening broadcast. But I really wanted to get this important news out to you. It was so incredibly important. Join me tomorrow morning on Mornings LALATE and do a couple things. First, like this video. I mean, this is incredibly important news tonight. I'm delivering some incredibly timely and breaking news, literally in the thick of darkness. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. And next, hit the subscribe and the like button, and join me tomorrow morning, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, as I'll deliver all this excitement for you with better lighting and a lot of great, exciting news. Have a great Friday. You deserve it. You got through this, and I'll see you Saturday morning. Have a good one.